So first thing, I just wanted to thank you, Ravi. A big thank you to you for creating such an amazing program that helps people at all the levels to explore their own space in leadership. What leadership is all about. People have different perceptions of what leadership is all about and how to grow in the corporate ladder and how to reach it to the top. So early in my career, I used to always have a question where I was wondering, why do some people make it to the top and why do some don't? I mean, why don't some people do? And this program definitely has helped me and gave me solid foundation to actually understand answer to my question. So thank you again for that. Little bit about my own journey here. So couple of months ago, although I was super excited about being promoted by my skip level, I was still disappointed because I was not getting the role I wanted. I really wanted to get into the leadership space with a different title, but she couldn't make me, but she promised me to take that role up. And she also promised that she would be mentoring me in the new role. So I took that role up. I faced a bunch of challenges along the way, but that thought of not being able to get the title always struck me. And I was all more contemplating on what was I lacking? Why was I not able to create the perception that I really wanted to get the title that I wanted in the first place? So that's when I started exploring these executive coachings. Like Sudha, I actually spoke to one other company as well, and then I never got connected to them. They were selling their own course, they were selling their own structure and all, but I never felt like they could help me or they would even be able to understand what I really wanted. So when I spoke to Ravi, the instant he heard me and the instant he actually told me how the program is structured, I knew that was a moment that I just had to go ahead and get enrolled. And that's what I did. And ever since that moment, I never got disappointed even for a second. I know I made the right call until now, and I'll have the same feeling forever. So this program is at different levels, as I mentioned earlier. And the best part about this program is that over the last 8 weeks, I got a chance to meet wonderful people at different levels again. Some people are just individual, I mean, not just, some people are actually individual contributors in their roles. Some are managers, some are senior managers, directors. And I've also seen a success story about someone opening up their own company and becoming a CEO even. So this is such a place where you can safely express your own thoughts, your own ideas, use the team as a sounding board to evaluate yourself, test a couple of things. And also that is how I view this program as, where everyone is a leader by themselves and everyone has that patient level of listening, and everyone is vulnerable to some extent, and everyone has their own set of insecurities, yet with the same goal of growing in their career and also in their life. So that is the power of this program, I felt. And I have got a chance to explore different tools and techniques over the last few weeks. And some of the notable things that I could mention are understanding the difference between the self-doubter and the leader inside us. So we all have both. We all have leader inside us, and we all have a self-doubter inside us as well, or the monkey sitting on our shoulder. So we don't really think about the self leader inside us when the self-doubter is actually pulling us so hard. Uh, if you could actually tap into your childhood or your college days where you actually made some, where you actually had some bunch of accomplishments, or even made have been an eagle where you had to make some tough calls, that's always the leader that was speaking inside you. But the moment when self-doubter is actually pulling us along, saying that you can't do this, or you can't ask for a promotion, or you can't really reach up to the top or ascend the ladder, um, it's the leader inside us doesn't kick in. So it's very important to practice that. And this program has definitely given me the tool to practice that on a regular basis so that gets kicked in when needed. And this program also helped me to answer one of the most important questions, uh, saying what else is true. Because most of the times when we are actually looking at a particular situation, we always are more biased towards uh, okay, what is the worst that can happen? For example, when I was promoted couple of months ago, I really didn't like it in the first place because, as I mentioned, I wanted something else, but Ravi helped me understand the blind spot. What was I missing? What was I supposed to do that I was not seeing? So that power of that particular question has stayed with me. So that also helped me to, and there were multiple times in the last 8 weeks where I actually asked that question myself and changed the entire perception about a particular situation. And one other thing is the disc profile. So this disc profile not only helps us to understand our own blind spots, our own strengths, but it also helps us to understand our manager, our skip level, and the people around us, and also our spouse or kids, because everyone is different from us and they have their own personality, yet everyone gets motivated by certain things. And some people can be chameleon, but you can still try to make out their uh, private self if you keep talking to them, or if you keep analyzing them. So this profile is something that is one of the biggest things that this program has provided me. And career sponsorship. Yes, I knew about this career sponsorship a little before I joined the program, but this program definitely highlighted why more about why do you need career sponsorship in the first place? How do you actually ascend the corporate ladder? Because people always talk about going for MBAs or going for another master's degree, or probably getting into some kind of rotation program or something. But they all help. I mean, I'm not downplaying any of those, but even for you to get to that, you definitely need someone who can actually speak your name out in the room that you're not in. For example, you want someone to actually talk about you in the room where they're actually discussing about the promotion. So you basically needed that uh, needed to build that relationship currency um, there. So that is what this career sponsorship is all about, and the power of consistency. So I've heard a lot of people thinking that a lot of people talking about the UMLI trainings being overwhelming. But if you just see that as like 56 hours of training, yes, that will be overwhelming initially. But if you can just take it like 2% a day, or if you can just have consistency to do little bit a day, probably like couple of hours a day, yes, that can go a long way. And it will definitely you'll definitely be able to stick that in your head more than just finishing the training, because no one ever is giving us any kind of medal for finishing all those trainings and not being able to implement any bit of it. And one of the biggest other assets was the power of pause. So, Ravi, if you can remember me in my very first call, the way I used to speak was very much different. Probably I might have some kind of anxiety issues or something. I'm not really sure yet because I was never diagnosed with anything, but I always had the tendency of speaking super duper fast and then blurting out everything in my head. So one coaching with Alison, where she helped me understand the power of taking a pause, the power of having a control of your own thoughts and the words flowing out of your mouth, and the power of taking a breath in between your words, definitely was an eye opener for me to help me manage myself better, whether it's in weekly, I mean, the meetings at the work, or probably at home too, or even when I'm trying to talk to my two kids at home. And the power of group wisdom. Okay, where else can we get such a group wisdom apart from these Thursday calls? I was one of the very few members who used to be the first one to attend the call and even the last one to leave the call. That too because it's 12 o'clock CST and Ravi had to go back to his own life. So I think I was the one who got benefited the most out of these calls, because I stayed for 4.5 hours every week. I tried to understand different questions, people at different levels having different vulnerabilities, insecurities, and the kind of challenges that they face with their skip levels, with their own teams, with their peers. And at some point, I know I'm going to get there. So I got a chance to hear them out. I got a chance to understand how to deal with certain situations once I get there. And I'm going to refer to these calls time and again as I go, and building that empathy muscle. So we all know the value of empathy, but unless you actually put some conscious thought into why do you need empathy, you're never going to realize the value of empathy in the first place. So probably going over the small session that we have, a small training video that we have in the Omli about uh, just like me, or probably thinking about a skip level in terms of understanding them more, or in terms of viewing them as someone who has the same motivations just like us, who is trying to make themselves more visible. You can definitely build that empathy muscle within you, because most of the times we may not really have a very good relation with some people at work, but having that angle of empathy would definitely make a lot of difference in mending some of the relationships. And most of these skills that I'm actually talking about are not just in to help us in our career, but these are more human skills as well. So I've seen a lot of applications of them in my own personal life as well, and got benefited by them. And um, the last but not the least, actually I can go over the list, but definitely don't want to take up a lot. Um, the power of aura, which is observe, reflect, and act. It's very important to observe. I mean, if you're trying to build something, let's say I was trying to analyze myself, and I was trying to see why was I speaking super fast and how can I actually slow down. Uh, I try to watch my own videos. I would try to watch my own recordings with Alison and Ravi, the three coaching sessions I had. Yes, it was not comfortable seeing those videos, because I knew all the all the blunders that I made, all the mistakes that I have made, but observing and then reflecting, okay, why did I do that in the past, and how can I actually help myself getting better in the future, and taking action accordingly has definitely changed the course of my own thought process, the way of handling myself over the last few weeks. And okay, I'll probably pause it here in terms of the number of notable things that I can take, because there are a
Yeah,
lot more, Ravi. Honestly, there are a lot more,
nice.
but in the
I know.
interest of time, I'll take a pause here. And
Nice.
as I mentioned earlier, um, the reason for me to actually join this program was to actually get to a title. But at this point of time, my mindset has shifted, where I'm not trying to anchor to any particular title in my career, although the title is important to me, because I really want to be a manager, senior manager, director, and VP at some point. But I know that the leader is definitely inside me, which has grown a lot over the last few weeks, and I'm now equipped with more tools and techniques to grow even more in the future as I keep ascending the ladder. Um, with that, I have one small recommendation to the newcomers of this team, or whoever is joined recently. So one recommendation I have is just try to make use of these coaching sessions with the coaches, be it Ravi or Michelle or even Alison. Try to go to them fully prepared, or probably with a blank slate too. Sometimes um, just going there with the blank slate and having a goal in mind can be helpful, or sometimes going there fully prepared. You should only be at two levels: either go there with a blank slate where you'll be able to imbibe everything that they're going to say, or just go there with a sort of questions where you'll be able to make use of those 45 to 60 minutes to the full extent. And also try to be fully engaged in these weekly calls, because this is a wealth of information which I'm definitely going to be missing starting next week, and I'm not looking forward to that at this point. Thank you, Ravi.
Yeah, wonderful. Wow. Such a big growth. And I like the very last statement. It's not about the title anymore. It's all about me. It's all about what Lakshmi is becoming. The title is title, right? So such a great growth and yeah, an equal feeling. I'm gonna miss you big time. I said